Well, 2022, that's a wrap. So here we are after the holidays. If you had a festive holiday of overindulging, I did a little bit myself, then this video is going to be for you. Now, I'm going to offer a little bit of guidance for maintaining a nice routine for your health and wellness and body alignment. I just uploaded a podcast, so do check it out. I will leave a link below where I go into great detail around the things that I've learned along the way, and also how our subconscious plays into how we align with our body or misalign. So the holidays, yes, is a common time of the year where a lot of us do overindulge a little bit. Not everyone, but if you have, then this is going to be a nice video for just offering guidance to incorporate into your health and wellness regime. If you didn't indulge, then good for you. And then you can even still take some of these points for you if they are resonating and helping you further with your health and wellness practice. Now, our body is wired based on our subconscious belief system. So we have many different aspects within ourselves, as I'm sure you are aware, and especially by these videos. One of the biggest aspects of our being and of how the subconscious plays out is within our body. And so many difficulties that we've gone through in our formative years, maybe some traumas or difficulties, and I'm talking about emotional, could be physical, could be psychological, could be spiritual, all plays into who we are today and how it is affecting our body and how it is affecting our consciousness and how it is affecting the way that we maneuver through life, right? So when we think about the body alignment, if we've gone through a lot of emotional traumas, and trauma, I'm talking about a wide range of traumas. It could be the lack of emotional support or the lack of emotional understanding or connection through parents, or even the psychological or physical. So there are so many of these aspects that do lead into a form of trauma. This is in my opinion. I feel that a lot of us do have traumatic backgrounds. There's of course extreme extent, but then there's the less extreme, but still plays into the limitations that we have within ourselves and the struggles that we tend to relive over and over and over again. With our body is one of the key aspects of who we are, of what makes us human, and it is the most valuable aspect that we have to work with. Because if we don't invest in our body, then we're only going to run into problems down the line, and it is going to hold us back. When our body is in alignment, then we function better. We have a lot of energy to work with. We feel good. Our mental clarity is on point. There are so many benefits to this, and we get to live life to its fullest. We get to go out and explore. We get to move around. We get to enjoy life, and it does really impact so many aspects of our being. So the reason why I want to emphasize this is because of course, the holidays and what we maybe have gone through, but also looking into the subconscious of how our subconscious patterns can play out in how we are treating our body. Now, with the work that I do, I have gone into many aspects within my own self, my own practice, but also working with others in what are the psychological patterns that are being formed that are contributing to how one is treating their body. Now, for myself, my own journey consisted of a very long time frame of continual fine-tuning. I continually fine-tuned my diet, and for years, drinking was a problem, and I had been drinking for many years. This is only one aspect. I'll get into the food aspect as well. But when we incorporate new habits to do with our body, to do with breaking habits that we become familiar with, it takes a long time. It can take a year to fully integrate a whole new way of living regarding our diet, regarding what we put into our body, because of the underlying fundamental layer of this is our subconscious and the way that we feel about ourselves and the way that we feel about our body and the way that we feel about our soul, our emotions, everything. So if we've gone through traumas in our past, in our formative years, then there could be a disconnect with our body. And so our body is constantly talking to us. Our body is constantly communicating with us. And when we've gone through difficulties in life, from an emotional standpoint, for example, there could be a detachment from the body and not paying attention to what the body is trying to say, not paying attention to the aches and the pains that are coming up and why they are being triggered, and what the body is trying to communicate through that activity. Now, one of the other areas is what we're fueling our body with. if we don't respect ourselves on a very subconscious level, if we have low worth on a very subconscious level, then we'll tend to overindulge in foods that are not healthy for us. Substances, sugars, processed foods. There's a very subconscious layer here that is in effect. And we can say, no, I respect myself, I love myself, but I'm fueling myself with alcohol, substances, junk food. Then you don't. You don't. And I've been through this, and I've gone through this process where I respected myself, but I knew, yes, in some kind of subconscious level, I was fighting something. And this is where we have to get really real about ourselves. We can brainwash ourselves and tell us, I am confident, I am beautiful, I am worthy. If we keep telling ourselves that, that's fine, that's great. That does allow for some subconscious reprogramming. But if we're not really getting real with how do I really feel about life? Do I fully feel 100% worthy or capable or able, or am I living in my manifestation right now? If there's a heaviness, if there's a resistance, if there's an uncertainty, or if you've been really struggling with manifestations or weight loss or issues within the body, then something needs to be adjusted, something needs to be resolved. And that's where the subconscious work comes in. Now, again, going back to the subconscious and how we respect ourselves on a very subconscious level, my journey, I really fought this for a long time with my diet, for one, and substance abuse. So this was a long process for me to be clean and for me to cut habits. And I had dipped in and out of these habits for years and years, and I would feel guilty and I would be really hard on myself. I stopped being guilty and hard on myself because I knew where that was coming from. So it's also one aspect of moving away from the guilt and away from the shame of our actions and just saying, you know what, this is coming from somewhere and I'm going to work through it and I'm going to resolve it. And I'm just human and I'm living the best life that I can possibly live and accept it. The other is working again on that subconscious level to release any of those buried beliefs of low worth and this low confidence, if you will. So when we build our confidence up, when we start to respect ourselves on a very subconscious level and go through this process of releasing all of these old wounds of the low worth and low esteem, then we get to build ourselves up into more confidence and more empowerment and more clarity with who we really are and acceptance with who we really are. And when we move into that level, we stop fueling our body with the bad stuff. Our body doesn't crave it anymore. The body develops a greater sense of self-worth and respect. Give me only the good stuff. Give me what I can fuel on. Give me what is going to make me feel good. That is what the body is saying. But when we are within this identity or under the influence of low worth, low confidence, low esteem, then we tend to bring in some of these substances or bad foods into our body because we don't feel we deserve the best. On a very subconscious level, we don't feel like we deserve the very best, to enjoy the best flavors in food, to put the best foods within our body, to fuel our body to operate in its optimal performance. And this is a long process. And like I said, I feel that this is probably one of the more difficult aspects of change that we have to go through is the diet and really connecting with the body and building that self-respect up and building that confidence up and dismantling these old beliefs that are buried within of the lack of support, lack of respect, lack confidence, low worth, that support the development of poor habits that we place on our body. It is fine-tuning. And I feel that more and more over this I would say honestly, over the last 4 months. Now I've been doing the subconscious work now for almost 3 years, but not until about the last 4 months, I've really dialed it in. I'm not craving any of the bad food anymore. I'm not craving alcohol. I'm not really craving anything in excess. I'm eating very clean, a lot of whole foods, a lot of greens, and I feel amazing. So this has been a process, and I know now I can feel more in my body. It wants the good stuff. And this is where I'm going to be able to perform to my optimal performance. Now, we all have different diets. We all have different food regimes or food interests or quality of food that we like that could be different than others. And that's totally fine. And I'm not saying to adopt food that I eat because we all have our different interests and our different tastes. But I just want to offer a bit of guidance or even just a little bit of food for thought just to observe and maybe just look into what you are fueling yourself with, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And also too, we do integrate a lot of these cultural influences or influences from our family that we all of a sudden eat a certain food or we eat in a certain way. But we don't even realize that we're doing it. It really takes a good hard stop and a good analysis of, okay, what am I eating? What is really good for me? What ingredients are not fueling my body to its optimal performance, and what might need to change? What needs to go, and where can I introduce better foods? This is a process, again, because some of us have been used to eating certain foods our whole life or eating a certain way our whole life. It's a good way to break some habits and to readjust, and sometimes our body just needs change in general to thrive and to function a bit better. So I hope this video found you when you need it the most. Check out my latest podcast on body alignment. I'll leave the link below. And I'm wishing you all the best in your transformative and health and wellness journey. Until next time, take care.